Tampa Home Talk, and welcome to another exciting 2 hours. We got a bunch of cool stuff lined up for you this morning, as always. And I'll tell you what blew me away. Mr. Pat George yesterday calling me, talking about the absorption rate. He forgot the word, but that's what he was talking to me about.
Terminology, but I was more concerned about what the number was and how many houses we have. So did you look this morning? How many houses are for sale around the area?
637 single-family homes in 3 counties.
That's up from last week.
What was our number last week, Leo?
608.
608. Just a little, not much.
Just a little, not much.
Yeah, 638 single-family homes. That's all you have to pick from. And I would say likely 25% of those already have a contract leaning.
I don't think you get to
Only
pick.
25%?
Probably more, but I'm just saying, like, literally, the status hasn't changed in MLS.
I don't think you get to pick from. That's like they're scraping the bottom of the barrel to find like in the recipe when you're cooking, and the recipe says to use some wine or vinegar and scrape up the bits.
No, that's like licking the spatula.
Well, what I'll tell you, Leo, is this market is a lot like puppies, right? Like, let's say you're going to go buy... Do you have a favorite dog? Like, if you were to buy a dog, what dog would it be?
I would buy a Skipper Key.
A Skipper Key. Okay, I have no idea what it is, but let's say, is it a rare breed? I haven't heard of it.
Not really. It's
a very smart dog.
It's a very smart dog. It's actually a boat dog, so I figured if I owned a Skipper Key, I'd move down to Belize, and then me and my Skipper Key, or my Skipper Key and I, would just be boating the Caribbean.
Okay, so a Skipper Key, let's say, are they abundantly available or not so much?
Well, they're not really.
Depends on where you go shopping.
Yeah, pretty much.
So back to the story. The point of what I'm trying to say.
I've given that question a lot of thought, though, as you can tell. I've been asked it before.
Let's say you want to buy a Skipper Key, right? You're Leo, and you're like, now is the time to buy my Skipper Key, right? And so he looks around. There's only a couple people that he's found that actually have litters of Skipper Keys. Right? And so the mom's pregnant and he's ready to buy his Skipper Key. And basically the mom gives birth. Leo's busy off doing inspections and what he does. And basically around the time that it's time to go pick out a Skipper Key, there is a run on these dogs because everybody on the air heard us talk about them and they want their Skipper Key boat dog, right?
Oh.
So now Leo's going to go pick out his Skipper Key, and
he needs more Benjamins.
Let's say there's 8, right? I don't know how many they usually have in a litter, but let's say there's 8.
6 to 12 come in a litter.
Okay, so let's say there's 10. There's 10, and then Leo is going to go pick a Skipper Key, and basically by the time he gets there, all the dogs are gone but one. Right? Because since we're at half a month's supply of homes, right? It's not even one. But all the dogs are gone, and you have one left to pick from, maybe 2. Let's say you have 2 dogs to pick from.
Can I pick from these 2?
Those are cute.
Yes, I'd like to pick from.
Black one and a white one.
I'd like to pick from those 2.
Pick the one with the pool.
I like the white one. Look at his little eyes. He's so cute.
Exactly. Now you can see why I want one.
Anyway, so the point is, Leo, if you want the Skipper Key and now is the time, you've got to pick from one of the 2 Skipper Keys that is available. Hopefully that makes sense. Are you tracking with me and what I'm saying about the market?
I am, but there's a list about 7 things you should know before getting a Skipper Key. Us and lists, that's a whole hour right there.
I know. Unfortunately, this is not the dog show. It's still Tampa Home Talk.
You know what?
As much as I love dogs.
I think we should still do that at one point. I think we should have a professional dog breeder or maybe a vet on, or maybe both, a professional dog breeder and a vet, and then we can talk about an hour about dogs because this is a home show.
I used to have... Go ahead.
This would be good. Of having a dog and you're trying to sell your home and the dog's in your home and you have to leave. Do you take your dog? Do you leave it? Or if somebody comes by to look at the house, how do you do with the dog?
Good question, Pat. We actually get that one very, very frequently from people that have pets and are selling their home. And what I tell people, and if Kim was here, she would say the same thing, right? You've heard her say that.
Go for a walk.
When she stages, the goal is to put more money in your pocket, right? So the more floor space and the more wall space you can show off, that's ultimately what puts money in your pocket. Well, the same is true with me guiding you as your listing agent. We are going to take away any distractions, okay? And that could be anything from the dog to the obscure artwork, right? We've had that before in properties. And so ultimately we want the people coming to the property to look at all the bones of the home and not anything that would distract them in the home, which would also include your favorite little Fido. So with that being said, Pat, especially in this market, it's pretty easy for us to have the seller vacate for, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 hours, ideally, for an open house. And ultimately, they can take the dog to the dog park, hang out, go take them to a restaurant-friendly or dog-friendly restaurant, have lunch with their best friend, and then ultimately, by the time they come back in this market, we'll probably have more than one offer, and the home will be sold. But what didn't happen was there was no distractions in the property when
look at Mr. Miami Vice walking in the door.
I know. Adam finally has joined us. He will be mic'd up here in just a few minutes. So let's get on. So basically, that's the moral of the story for the market, right? Like if you want a puppy, you got to pick one. Might not be the cutest puppy, but it's a puppy, right? So 637 new active listings.
Wait a second, Adam. Have you ever met a not cute puppy?
I was about to say they're all cute puppies.
They are all cute puppies, but the point is, if you need a house, you got to pick one from what's available, right? So sold listings, again, this is, people always say, well, how's the market? How are things going? How do I know it's still a seller's market? Well, we're still selling and pending more than what's coming on the market. That's the first indicator. The minute we start reporting that it's the other way around, and that happens for more than 2 weeks in a row, and there's been nothing weird that's happened, then that pretty much will be a good indicator that things might be changing. But right now, we got 978 sold properties from the last 7 days in 3 counties, single family homes, and the number of pendings, again, through the roof, we're looking at double numbers, so 1,237 pending.
Yeah, for every 600 homes on the market, there's 1,200 homes under contract.
And now,
I don't understand how that's sustainable.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. It's supply and demand, right? We have a lot of people just infiltrating the area from other markets. So, you know, it's like when you look at places like LA and New York and Chicago and, you know, San Diego. I think we're more like San Diego.
All the places I don't want to live.
Yeah. So you basically have
San
more
Diego
people.
might not be too bad.
Yes,
That's why you're wine country, isn't it?
No, wine country's a little further north.
Oh,
It's
San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah, San Francisco is what you're
You know
thinking
what I
of.
think is funny? I think it's funny that there are a lot of people out there not really paying attention. So they're going, hey, honey, we can really make a lot of money on this house. We can sell it now. And now they're trying to find a rental property because they can't find a home to move into.
Yeah, and that happens. I tell you, one of the things that we've seen more of in this market that I've never, ever seen so much of as we have in this market, and that is the number of leasebacks that buyer. Like sometimes that's the deciding factor for the seller is they get to lease back the property for a period of a week or 2 or a month or whatever it is they've decided on.
Why would that be? Just to better financing? Like now they can pay all their debts and now they can qualify for a different loan on their next house?
Not necessarily think about it. I know that you're in an apartment, Adam, but let's say, you know, all of your money is tied up in your biggest asset, which is a condo. Let's say it's your condo, right? And now, you know, your wife is pregnant. You guys are ready to go get the house with the dog and the picket fence and all that stuff, right? So the condo life no longer works.
Right.
So you say, well, I'm going to go buy a single family home, but man, there's not a lot to pick from. And by the way, I need my money from this place before I can buy the next place.
Right.
So, you know, you have to think about it like the day of closing belongs to the buyer. So technically you, your wife, and all of your stuff has to be out by the day of closing.
Right.
But you can't yet move into your new place until you have your money.
Right. That's what I was saying. So they want to sell it so they can handle the finances and then
put it
into
it's also, and I have a friend who's right now selling a house up in D.C. and moving to Orlando, and they needed a 2-week lease back because they needed to have their kids finish school.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So there's many reasons why someone would do that, especially the school thing. Right now is great timing for that because a lot of folks are graduating, you know, in all different areas. I know my best friend, her son is graduating this year, and they are moving from Charlotte back to Tampa. She was from Tampa, and ultimately she's got like another month.
I think I've talked to her. She was really nice.
You probably have. It depends on what day you catch her on.
Yeah, fair enough. That's everybody, though.
All right. When we come back, I think we're going to be joined by our guest, Taylor Calta with Calta Clear Pools. 'Tis the season, right, to talk about these clean pools. But before we do, I want to talk a little bit about the book, and we'll just chat a little bit about what's available and what you can expect from the book. We've had a lot of people ask about it and say I don't talk about it enough. So selling through relationships, why cold calling sucks and relationships win, is available on Amazon. And if you call or text, I will send you a signed copy of the book to 813-377-2775. Again, text book or call to 813-377-2775, and you can get the book, Selling Through Relationships, on Amazon. We'll be back right after this break.
Well,
Welcome back. This is Tampa Dog Talk, talking dogs,
Nope.
talking homes.
thank you. I was about to say the wrong thing, and Adam came in and saved me.
Welcome home.
I know.
I like Tampa Dog Talk.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Bork,
that was
bork.
What is it called? Skipper Corky?
Skipper Key.
Skipper Key, and this is the Yappy Hour.
See, I do listen to the show even when I'm not in here.
I like your little puns there, Leo.
I wish I could take credit for it, but I can't.
Since we're waiting on our guests, I did have a question because you kind of breezed right through it. But so you talked about, okay, the indicator would be 2 weeks in a row that the numbers are not where they're at right now. Right?
I was saying that unless there's a good reason, right? Like there's a holiday in the middle of there or something that would throw it off. And really
right,
that'd be 1
random
week.
April afternoon, like
Yeah.
couple weeks in April back to back. So what do you think, if you had your Katrina crystal ball, since you've seen it all now,
Almost all of
what
it.
do you think is going to be the factor that gets us out of this trajectory we're at
Shortage,
right
is
now?
that what you're saying, or what are you saying?
Well, so we've been talking for the past probably 14 months how hot the market is,
Yeah.
right?
What do I think is gonna change that?
What is going to change that? Yes.
I'll
what's
tell you the
market
only thing that
forces
I
here?
can see, right, like being a Tampa native and from the area and just knowing how the market is, the only thing that I see that could slow down or change like what we're seeing right now on the market is we get a bad hurricane
It scares
or a
them back
couple
up north.
back-to-back hurricanes. I think that may scare a few folks off or at least slow things down.
Yeah. Knock on wood. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
I'm just saying, like, for me, it's not a big deal. Like, I could sleep through a hurricane. I like them. They don't bother me. I
My
have
business
insurance.
would be.
Yeah.
I'd have
I
some
couldn't
problems.
I couldn't imagine that statement coming from an insurance man.
What?
Knock, knock. Hope that doesn't happen.
I do hope that doesn't happen. Look at your insurance rates right now. Imagine if we got a direct
Yeah.
hit.
I know.
There's a whole, Leo, you may know the history of it more than I will, but Tampa, when you look at the native history and like the Indians and that sort of stuff, doesn't Tampa stand for like fire or
Lightning.
something? Lightning.
Yeah, Tampa means lightning.
And I know that there's something about the way we are set up in Tampa that it's rare, like not likely that we would receive direct hits.
From hurricanes, that is correct.
What is it about? What's the geology behind that?
It has to do with the jet.
Not geology,
not
but
the Gulf Stream.
science. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Gulf Stream is this river in the ocean. Science.
Cut the rocks.
Yeah, so imagine there are rivers flowing through the ocean. You can't see them unless you're watching a David Attenborough special.
He has a new one, Life in Color. I don't know if you watched that
I'm
yet.
looking
by the
forward
way.
to watching
All right.
that one. I am so excited about that.
We digress.
Here we go again. Go ahead.
But what ends up happening is this Gulf Stream moves water around the Gulf of Mexico and then around the bottom of Florida and then up the coast of Florida. And what that does is it moves, this river is actually working as a buffer. So when the hurricane's headed right for us and then it hits the Gulf Stream, which is nice warm water, it gets stronger. But at the same time, it gets pushed further north on the east coast of Florida and further south on the west coast.
So are these underground rivers?
Not really underground. They're
Okay,
at the
I mean
surface.
underwater?
They're in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, rivers in the water. The best example of the Gulf Stream's impact would be Hurricane Charlie, 2004.
We had a lot of hurricanes in 04.
They said it was coming to Tampa. It was coming to Tampa. It hit that Gulf Stream. It rapidly intensified and then slammed into Port Charlotte.
Yeah.
And that's because the warm water was pushing it south, and these hurricanes want to go where the warmer water is.
It's something about, again, the way we sit, that's...
Well, we're also kind of recessed. If you look further north, the state starts to jut out more. Hurricanes like to dodge land. So if the hurricane's looking at Tampa, it's like the warmer water is south, and there's this big mass of land right here. I don't want to go there. I want to go down to Naples. I want to go golfing. I want to go To Key
So
West.
the
I want to go
hurricane?
boating.
Yeah.
It doesn't want to go to Tampa. Who wants to go to Tampa if you're a hurricane?
So I think the hurricanes could freak some people out, right? Because they're just not used to that. They
Oh,
think.
I had a client. It was a couple years ago too, and he was he's from like Minnesota or something, and he's like the storm was coming, and he's like, I don't know if he was really freaking. He's like, I don't know if I can handle this. Am I going to be okay? What's going on? I'm like, take a deep breath. It's gonna be fine.
Let me tell you how we do this in Tampa. We get together with some alcohol. You hang out at a friend's house, and we call them hurricane parties. That's how we deal with
I looked
that.
at the guy. I'm like, listen, your house it was masonry. He had a hip roof. He was fine. He wasn't going anywhere.
And you buy futures in Home Depot and Lowe's.
yeah. Oh,
Good
if you think
point.
wood costs a lot now, wait for that first hurricane to come through.
Would cost a lot now. It's just amazing. So in construction, there's this rule called the FEMA 50, which says that if you're doing a substantial improvement to your home, you have to upgrade your home to hurricane code. I mean, to
If it's over 50%.
to floodplain code. And it's so easy now to hit that. We had a house yesterday. The house was $75,000, not the house and the land, and not what Katrina could sell it for, and not what someone could buy it for, but the house itself. That the property appraiser said it was $75,000. Well, I gave them like $37,000 for a FEMA 50. They wanted to do a kitchen bathroom reno. I'm like, you can pick one, or you can raise your house 4 feet, and then
So can I pick one at a time and do the other one later?
per year.
Oh, got it. So that works.
Yeah, I mean,
But it's crazy.
It is crazy, and
It's nothing to hit that 50% now.
well, and so I have a question for you because I see it's changed a little bit, but I don't think it's changed that drastically. My big concern now, especially on the insurance side, okay, we've been doing these replacement cost estimates, right? And you've always said, hey, I think they're a little high. I tend to agree with you on that. But now I'm sitting here and I think they might be a little low based on what we're seeing. Like, there's very
Based
few,
on what it would cost to actually
well,
reconstruct
there's
that
very,
new home.
very few total losses. So theoretically, it wouldn't come up, but I would be very concerned if I was a homeowner.
Yeah, I see about 1 to 4 total losses a year. Legitimate total losses.
Yeah, lightning strikes, everything burns down, nothing's there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and sometimes
Dust.
these become total losses, sadly, because of the amount of time it takes for the homeowner who can't afford $30,000-$40,000 to fix their home. The time it takes the insurance claim turns some houses into total losses that not necessarily needed to be there.
Right, big hole in the roof, can't fix it. It rains every day. Here we
Well,
go.
I mean, that's $1,200 to put a tarp up. That's not what I'm talking about. Like a fire that renders the electrical unusable, so now you're not running the AC. If that home sits for 6 months, we got mold all over the place now. And that's
Yeah.
out of control of the homeowner. Yeah, I mean, most of the time, unless tree
So is the
fall,
insurance company at fault at that point?
it's this Aaron Donovan
weird.
gray area. It's
Yeah.
like the homeowner has the responsibility to limit the damages, but if they can't afford it, and the
Or they
insurance
can't turn on the
companies-
AC, I
and
mean-
the insurance company is dragging their feet, where is the fault there?
Well, and I think that brings up another good point, and this would be a great question for Aaron, especially since we're doing a bunch of legislative things to assist the insurance carriers. I think there should be some sort of time standard
what
when
I
it
was
comes
thinking.
to claims because
Yep. You have X period of time to do this. You have X period of time to do that.
There is.
because I'll tell you,
That's already in place. You have so many days, like you get served. You have 20 days to file your motions. It's just everything gets backed up and everything slowed down, and then there's the professional courtesy of extending deadlines.
because I mean I will say we're very lucky. All of our carriers pretty much do what they're supposed to do, and we hear very, very few claim complaints, right? But the one that I hear the most is I can't get a call back. Nobody's called me back, and it's like, well. And generally, once I pick up the phone and I call the claims adjuster, it seems to get them to call them back. So I don't know why me calling them lights the fire under their butt, but I mean, just take care of your customers.
Well,
you would want to be taken care of.
I had one on my own that I had my own claim that I couldn't reach the adjuster. I was calling 4 times a day for 3 weeks straight, and then I finally tape recorded her voicemail, which basically said she was on some company outing in December and she'd be out of the office in the middle of December. And I forwarded it to her supervisor's supervisor. I'm like, I understand you guys ignore your clients, and I understand you guys don't pay attention to voicemails, but
So bad.
we're in February. You should probably have your desk adjuster change her voicemail about the December 21st company party that she couldn't couldn't answer phone calls for.
Wow, that's bad.
I got my claim settled within 1 week.
I bet you did. I had one time. I believe
attention to
we're
detail,
talking
right?
about the same. I believe we're talking about the same carrier here, which we won't mention.
A Tampa-based carrier?
No, this one is a Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, mine was a Tampa-based.
Okay, this one has an elephant as a insignia, and like, I don't know why they were dragging their feet, but eventually I had to make a phone call, and they hand delivered the check to the lady that week, because it was. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was a couple months. What are we doing? Waiting papers?
No, yes, not at you.
I was just thinking like I'm thinking back to a couple of what became total losses. If the adjuster goes out there and realizes that if they don't do something, throw a tarp on the roof, get electricity back on, this house is going to have a lot more damage to it. They should pull some strings. They have the ability to throw tarps on roofs.
Yeah.
They should do that more often.
Well, and some of these carriers have their own response team. So why is your response team not out there? I thought that was the point of your response team and you wanting people to call you. Why are they not out there doing that stuff?
Never heard about a response team.
Oh, yeah.
Katrina?
No, but I gotta tell you, like, I'm going back to my original point of why can't the smart people that have a certain net worth agree to pool a bunch of money in case something happens? They can self-insure, and that's their pool of money.
That's how insurance was created.
Yeah,
The
that
smart
was.
Yeah,
people
but
with all the money
insurance
now
is not
own the
what it
insurance
used to be,
companies.
right?
813-377-2775. Our off-air number is 813-377-2775.
Yes.
Words.
When we come back, just a few more details about stuff. Yeah, we'll be back.
Stuff. Welcome home. This is Tampa Home Talk.
Good job, Adam.
Talking dogs, talking insurance, talking homes. 813-377-2775. That's 813-377-2775.
We're not always so goofy.
Yeah,
really.
Leo just failed the Tampa Home Talk IQ test. It was a pull, not a push on that door, but he's gone anyways. So
Goodness, he can hear that one. All right.
Firing away.
Yeah, so let's chat a little bit about, well, I know that I don't talk about the book enough, and I get that question all the time. And people ask me, so who's the book good for? Like, they ask me, how's it going? And I think the last time I looked, we had about 32 reviews on Amazon, really trying to get to that 50 mark. Mm-hmm. So have you left me a review yet, Adam? I think
Yeah, of course I left a review.
Right.
I said it was straight fire.
Well, you read it.
I did.
Right?
Yes, I did. Leo read it, but I read it.
Leo read it. Well, you read it, or Leo read it, or who
No,
read it?
I read it like Leo reads it.
Oh, you tried to speed read it.
Yes. Well, not speed read because I'm not as fast as Leo, but more a normal person.
I think Leo actually read it. Like, I had this list of questions ready to go to test his speed reading skills, and he's like, "Oh no, I better read it."
He's pretty good, man. He's good. So he's hard to beat on that stuff.
So the question I get very often, Adam, is: so is this book just for real estate agents, or who is this book for?
I would say no. It's more anybody that's in sales, but I mean, truly, no matter what you do, I think everybody is in sales to a certain degree.
They are.
So I think it's good for most people.
Well, it's funny if you
your HR reps probably aren't in sales, but everybody else is close to being in
they're
sales.
still in sales because they're still recruiting for talent.
They are. Well,
They are.
it depends on what side of the HR department
Yeah.
they are. You know?
Honestly, it doesn't matter the size of the business. You're always you have two jobs, right? You have to lead generate, so you have to have enough business to have a company, right?
Yeah.
And then you also have to take care of your people.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't matter how big the size of the company, you're still in it for calling, for relationships, for the whole, like, exactly what the book is about.
Yeah.
So basically, I get it all the time, like, who is it a good read for? And I would say anyone that is just general business owner or in sales, or basically, there's even some little life principles in there, which I've had a lot of questions. People ask me, what's your next book going to be about? And so I have two amazing
And
ideas.
dogs, probably? No?
Not dogs, no. My next book, I think, really has to be about money, because the other book I want to write is going to take a lot of time to write.
I think your next book, and it'd be a great way. It would be easier to do because you could get contributions from all of our wonderful partners here at Tampa Home Talk. But I think your next book should be almost like a what to expect when you're expecting, like what to expect when you're
When you
moving
buy
to
a home
Florida.
or when you move to Florida. Okay.
Yeah, because you get a lot of, I
Actually,
get a
I
lot of
could
people that
probably
ask those questions.
incorporate that into my one book that I'm going to write.
Because you know what I
You
mean?
don't
Like,
want to write one book.
I get those questions all the time, like, well, what's this going to look like? And how does it work down here? And all this other stuff. And it's, I think what to expect when you're moving to Florida would be a good book.
And honestly, I'm probably not the best person to write about that because I've always lived here. I've never actually moved to Florida.
And she doesn't even know what a skipper key is, and that's a dog that belongs on a boat.
I'm going to steal your dog and put him on my boat
I don't have this dog yet.
that I have insurance on
Don't you
now
have like
finally.
a collie or something?
No, a corgi.
Okay.
Let me know when you get him and I'll steal him and borrow him for my boat. Why are they considered a boat dog, by the way?
Actually, it's a Belgian breed, and what ends up happening is they're short and stocky, so that they have good girth to be on a boat and hold their own. They have a high prey drive, so if they're bringing in the fish and stuff, they can help there, chase off the birds. Yeah, there's a lot of benefits that went into this breed for boating.
Hey, are they good
Cuteness.
swimmers?
They're excellent swimmers.
Okay, because that would probably be needed if they're out on
On the
the
boat,
We
yes.
just had a caller, Katrina. We just had a caller that said this is the first time they tuned into your show. They're loving it. They said that you sound very likable. They're not too sure about the two other guys.
I get
But
that.
they wanted
I
to-
do get that.
I do get that a lot.
Yeah,
I mean
that's fine.
Like
They
I
wanted to know how long you have been in business.
It's a great question. So I was born and raised here in Tampa. I've actually been in the business for over 30 years, and I started on the mortgage side of the business when I was 18 years old, actually before I was 18, but as a licensed person at 18 years old. And then I did that for 17 years. I did real estate and mortgage, like at the same time together for about 4 years. And then when the housing market crashed and they went through national relicensing on the mortgage side, I said, you know what? I'm not going to redo my mortgage license. I actually hate it.
She said pass.
And it's so interesting just the path and the way in which things go because at that time I was really looking for a great partner to replace myself, and that person was Sarah, and she's literally been my lender for 17 years.
Nice. Yeah.
So all in all, I've got about
Worked
30
out
years
well.
in this space. I'm losing track of time. I just say about 30 years. I'm going to be like a little over or under.
We are.
I guess at 30 years it doesn't matter, does it? Really, when it's 3 decades?
Yeah, we're at 38 years at Tally Insurance.
Is that combined or is that your dad?
No, that's he started it in 1983, so
yeah.
we've been in business for 38 years.
Wow.
So you started when you were about what? 55 then, Katrina.
Me? When I was 55?
You started in real estate around, maybe about 40. Yeah, about 40 years old.
No, I did not start in real estate. I told you I started.
I know.
He's being a jerk. When did you start in radio, Pat? 85?
No, I started in radio in 19.
No, I meant age, buddy. I meant
Oh my
age.
gosh.
How many houses do you sell a year, approximately, Katrina?
This year, we're on track to sell 200 homes, but I prefer to say help about 200 families, right? Because for us, it's very much about the people behind it more than it is the house. Even if they're an investor and they're looking to basically invest in their first, real estate property. So, this year we'll help 200 families either buy, sell, or invest or relocate in and out of the state of Florida. So we're blessed in a way that, we get some stuff from radio. We do. As a matter of fact, one of the houses I'm going to talk about this morning, it's actually a referral. I was going to say 92% of my business is referred past clients, but the person that referred them originally came from someone that heard us on radio. So that's the interesting thing. So we'll get some stuff from radio, but really the bigger value for us is the other people that they refer or like past clients that come back to us. I've been in radio almost 9 years, so not as long as Pat.
And not as long as Leo.
October will be 9 years for me, consistently,
God.
no breaks.
I feel like
Leo.
I've been in radio for 3 years now. Think about that. We've been doing this for a while, folks.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been doing this for 3.5, 4 years.
Yeah,
You
so
know, the thing I like about Katrina is that after you sell the house, you become friends with these people because you do these company parties, and all these people show up at your parties.
That's true.
we do. And the interesting thing I think for us is, we're probably not like everybody else, right? You get a lot of people that they wander through an open house and you get this random agent that's there. And then they're like that chasing, right, for the
Yeah.
business. We just don't do that. And so there's been clients that I've actually turned away because I feel like we're just innately not a good match. Like there has to be that trust factor when you're starting out, especially buying something as big as a house or selling something as large as a house asset wise, that if we don't have that trust, I would rather just not even work with them, because the truth is they got to find the person that they have that trust with.
Yeah.
And have that guarantee line.
We do. So, and I don't talk about that enough either, do I, Pat? But it's true.
No.
We have our 90-day love where you live guarantee. And so a lot of people love that because when they move or relocate here to the state of Florida, sometimes they don't know the area, right? And they want to buy a home, but they're nervous about actually making a decision to purchase. And so what we tell them is we have a 90-day love where you live guarantee. So we're going to do everything we can to find out about you, your lifestyle, what's a good match, tell me about where you're coming from. So that way we can suggest areas and neighborhoods and places that could make a great match based on, their lifestyle, what they like. And ultimately, when they get here, if it's not, or they change their mind, or they don't like their neighbor, we will resell that home for free and find them one that they like instead.
Sounds good. It sounded like you almost had a listing that you wanted to talk about.
Believe it or not, we have
Several.
3.
3 listings. Let's talk
We
about
have
them.
3. So
Actual listings or coming soon?
well, one is on the market. It's just on the market this week. It's really more of an investment type property, but it's 7542 Clovis Court in Newport Richey. So not long, right off of 54. Great investment property
Isn't there
listed
usually
for
a picture here?
Yeah, sometimes it just prints that way, but it's listed for $150,000. This is a great deal, really, for an investor that wants a little bit of a project, not much of a project, but it would make a really great investment property.
Let's do it, Leo. 50-50, you and me.
And then 2 more properties we have, and these are not yet, they might be on the market, I'm not sure. They're supposed to hit the market today.
Depends on if Mimi's doing her job over here or not.
Yeah, well, it's not Mimi, it's actually Madeline,
Yes.
but so these are going to be we'll have open houses on both of these this weekend. We've got a great property at 3909 Wildwood Court in Valrico.
Oh, Valrico.
So that's in your
that's
neck of the woods.
Yeah.
So $425,000, great home. That's in Mason Oaks. That's going to go fast because that's in the Newsom High School District.
Newsom, love
and
it.
great family home with a pool. Just really, really amazing property.
I could probably tell you everything you need to know about this this area. I'll let you do that while I'm looking this up.
And then there's another one that's at 2415 East Granada Circle in St. Pete. So this
those
is
go quick.
the
They
great
do.
area of Lakewood Estates. This is a good sized property, almost 3,700 square feet. And it's 5 bedrooms, 3 full baths with 2 half baths. It's on almost a quarter of an acre, right, which is hard to come by in St. Pete. And this one's priced at just $500. I have a feeling we're going to get multiple offers on this one, and it's going to go very, very quickly. But we'll be holding both of these properties open this weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, unfortunately, they'll probably be sold by Monday. Hence the numbers that we looked at this morning.
Probably
Right,
sold by
Leo?
Monday. Well, especially this one over in Valrico. I mean, it's in a great spot. I mean, and it's not so far down Lithia Pinecrest
No.
that you want to
Fish off yourself.
What I like about this, I don't know how many homes are in here, but it's one of those tiny little pocket neighborhoods that's just a gem. It really is.
No, it's been there for a while, but it's nice. It's nice over there, and you're close to all the stuff they're building out in Fishhawk and near River Hills, but you're also close to that Bloomingdale Lithia Pinecrest intersection that has everything.
And
else that you
they
want.
put some nice stuff into the home. It's a really great property with a pool. I know it's going to sell really
on
quickly.
a cul-de-sac. Gotta love
on a
it.
cul-de-sac, yeah.
Gotta love
As a matter of fact, one of my this is probably what makes me different. So for the caller that was listening and asking, I had a customer that came in. He was actually a lead. He was a lead that came in to sell his home. I think he was a referral from Dave Ramsey.
Yep.
And, he was retiring from the military, and so the plan was to sell. So he was like doing some preparation and some planning and that sort of stuff. And this is his particular neighborhood. And I remember that. So I looked him up and called him. I said, hey, how you doing? How you been? Wanted to let you know about this listing that I have coming on the market in your neighborhood. I'd love it if you and your wife could come by and check it out. So that whole conversation resulted in me coming by his house. He's decided to stay for a while. He's got a freshman in high school till they get through it, and then he's going to sell later. And I had forgotten that this home I'm selling is the same model as his.
Oh, wow.
And so when I went there, he has all new paint. He's redone the kitchen, master bathroom still ripped out. asked for some ideas on that. So I popped by to give him some really cool ideas on how to redo his bathroom.
Oh, wow. I like that.
So that's probably what makes me a little different. I'm not there just for the sale. I'm really there for the relationship. Hence my book, Selling Through Relationships. And I will tell you, if you haven't read the book, you'll know a lot about me after that book.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. We'll be back in a minute. Stick around.
Welcome home.
Ooh,
Welcome
proud
back.
of you. Look at you.
This
We're
is
doing
Tampa
a
Home
home
Talk.
talk.
So tell me, Leo, Adam, Pat, give me one thing that you did not know about me that after you read the book, you knew about me.
Oh, God.
I already said off air it was I didn't know you started in Chick-fil-A.
My first job was in Chick-fil-A.
First job was in Chick-fil-A.
Yep,
Yeah,
I was.
that's probably mine. I didn't think you had such a. I thought you were always just into real estate.
Well, I
I thought you never stopped playing Monopoly when you were a kid.
I was 14. Remember when I got my first job? I talked about it in the book.
14. Wow.
I was
I didn't
14.
commit that part to memory. That's fun. That's crazy.
And they did not hire a 14-year-old. You had to be 15 to work.
So you lied? You
No, I didn't lie.
You used your YMCA
No,
card
I didn't
that
lie.
had the wrong date on?
I talk about it in the book. If you read it, you would remember. Do you remember, Leo? What I said in the book about why I had a job at 14? No, you forgot
No.
to. It's your speed reader.
Well, no, I like I said before, I'm in the middle of a.
Yeah.
Got it.
He's distracted.
So-
He's distracted. Let's give him a break today.
Give me a break. Give me a pass.
We will. We'll definitely give you a pass. No, Mr. Bill, when I first interviewed with him, I carried myself so well, he actually didn't believe I was 14. And so I told him that I was.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, if you're 14, how will you get to work? Right? Legitimate. valid
how would a
question.
15-year-old get there?
That's the most important question. You can get a learner's permit at 15.
And my,
But your parents have to still be in the car
Correct.
with you.
yes, they did then and they do now. Yes.
Wait a second. So what's the point of driving yourself to school or work if your parents have to be in the car?
You can practice legally
you can
with someone
practice
in the
with
car.
your parents. You can go
Yeah.
down the street.
Florida's so silly.
So at the time, Chick-fil-A was only in the malls. It didn't have these big standalone drive-through restaurants you
Yeah.
see now. They were only in the malls. And the mall that they're still there. The mall's there. I thought it was torn down because they're talking about making
It's
it like a,
physically there. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
actually up and running.
It's a Spirit once a year.
yeah.
Spirit
Anyway.
Halloween. That's like 2/3 of the mall for.
yeah.
At the time, that was one of the only malls
had
around. Like
that
there was
one.
West Shore and that one. That
And
was
you had
it.
the one that was off of Hillsborough that's now some
The
sort of office
park.
complex.
Yep, you're right. Eastlake.
And you had the
Eastlake
one
Mall,
where
yeah.
the Bucks
Tampa
facilities
Bay Mall.
are
Yep.
right now.
And I
Yep.
actually worked in that mall.
And look at all that knowledge
I
for
did.
somebody that wasn't around when that.
I know.
I just
Things
learned a whole bunch of new things.
So when I was 14 years old, Mr. Bill says, if I give you a job, how are you going to get to work? And I said, Mr. Bill, if you give me a job, not only will you not have to worry about how I'm going to get to work, but I will be there on time and I will do the best job I can do for you and your customers. And because of the way I responded to him, he was like, okay, I'm going to give you a shot.
Man, now if you could go back in time, would you still do real estate, or if you could get a low investment into a Chick-fil-A franchise, would you have done that instead?
Oh, I don't think that was my path.
Okay.
I think everything happens for a reason, and I was there for the.
Wait,
for,
making 2 cents in nuggets, not
2 cent nugget.
I just don't think it's my path.
Times
There's
10
nothing
million
wrong with
nuggets.
it.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I don't think it's my path. But I learned
Fair
a
enough.
lot there in that experience, and
That's
it was
only
a great.
20,000.
What was your first job?
It was a great first job to have.
What was your first job, Leo?
Mine? Mm-hmm. Oh, this is going way back in time.
Newspaper boy. Were you? That was my bad.
No, I was not a newspaper boy. I think it was a warehouse. It was a warehouse job.
Okay.
What
Warehouse.
did you do?
So I was in charge of taking, like, you know how you can go to the store and you can buy barbecue rocks and stuff like that. I was I was responsible for packaging this thing together into a certain number of weight in items, and then
How old were you?
12.
So you had a job where you were responsible for stuff at 12?
I say responsible for. It was my task to do X.
Okay.
Interesting.
Basically, it's cheap student labor.
What'd you learn from that job? I'll let you think about that.
Probably not a lot.
Not a
ahead,
lot.
Matt.
It was just.
I had 2 crazy jobs when I was young. I'll tell you after he finishes.
He's still thinking
He's
about
still-
it.
yeah, the
I didn't
wheels are
really-
turning.
I didn't really learn anything. It was cheap manual labor job. It was just I have money now. I learned I can now have money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even if you don't think you learned anything, you probably still learned something from earning that dollar.
I
Dollars aren't easy to come by. That's easy. It's the easiest one to learn.
I remember back then it was $3.35 was student wage. $3.35 an hour.
Wow.
Even if you learned, I'm not going to do this for the rest of my life at $3.35.
Yeah.
And
I don't
I'll
know.
tell you two jobs that got me into radio. One was when I was very young. I was probably 14, 15 years old on my bicycle with 2 baskets on the back wheel and one in the front. And I had the paper route for every house. And I know you're going to remember this area, Katrina, from Sly Avenue between Habana, Sly, Armenia, and Hillsborough, Ralston Beach area, and that trailer park that's set there right on the corner of Sly. To the south, I had all these trailers and all these homes that I just used to throw newspapers at.
You probably had my grandparents' house, Pat. They live on Habana and Osborne. Not Habana and Osborne, but Osborne and McDill. That's right over there near Jesuit.
I probably did.
That's
And then
hilarious.
I got a job.
So how old were you, Pat, throwing
I
newspapers?
was 14, 15, and then
Okay.
I got a job when I was about 17 years old. I worked in Drew Park, and this was my job, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. There was a girl or a lady that was on a saw. It was an automatic saw, and all day long, all we did was cut the knot holes out of 2x4s. And I would be the stacker on the pallets. 8 hours a day, she'd cut the knots out, hand me the board, and I'd stack it on a pallet. A forklift would come and pick it up, and then we'd start all over again.
Wow.
That has got to be the worst job I've ever had in my life. Bending down and stacking up boards without the...
How long did you do that?
Oh, gosh, about 8 months.
That's funny.
That's a long time for a job you hate.
Yeah, that's funny.
What about you?
It
Was your
called Crown Doors.
So
your first job picking the paper clips out of the carpet at your office?
no, although I did do that. I mean, if you want to count working for, filing and
free?
stuff for my dad, I've done that. My grandparents, when I was growing up, they still had their nursery. They owned Armenia Nursery. So anybody that's from Tampa forever will know that place.
Mm-hmm.
So I would pick up all of the pecans. They had pecan trees. So I'd pick up all the pecans, I'd put them in little bags, and then I'd set up a little stand right by the cash register, and I'd sell pecans.
So you had a pecan stand? That was your first job?
So that was like the other
That's
stuff.
so funny.
You probably bought
He
stuff
said-
from me.
No, I saw those because I lived only a block from there. I saw that. I got that idea to go and do that, and I sold those by hand, like at the Grandway and the A&P and the grocery
Yeah,
store.
people would buy them too.
Did you remember the little kid in there selling bags of pecan?
I
Leo?
don't remember the
Adam?
little kid, but I remember those bags.
That's
I remember
funny.
those bags.
But my first real job, not working for somebody I'm related to, was Nature's Table, which is like a little cafe,
Where
doing
was that? I remember
smoothies
that.
and sandwiches. The one I worked at was in Hyde Park, and it was
Okay.
so at Tampa. I went to Tampa Prep for high school, and the last 2 weeks of your senior year, you're supposed to go do an internship somewhere. Well, nothing really interested me, and one of our close family friends owned Nature's Table. I was like, I'll just go there. He's like, I'll pay you. I'm like, okay. So I got paid for and then I just kept it for the whole summer and ended up becoming the manager of that place eventually. So it was fun.
That's
Good.
so great. All right, so I think even though our guest for hour number 1 flaked out, we'll be back with a couple great guests for hour number
so.
2. So stick around. We'll be joined by Patrick McAlpin at Tropicana Screen and Glass, and I think we have another guest
Yeah,
too. Yeah,
we'll
Paul
figure it
Stram
out.
from Paul's Home Pro Services. This is Tampa Home Talk. Stick around. We'll be back right after this break with hour number 2.
Love where you live, or we'll list it.
You were listed.
That's right.
Nice.